According to the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, a license is not required for specific low-voltage activities. These activities include the installation of telephone, computer, fire alarm, security, intercom, and surveillance systems, as well as the installation of Category 5E/6 RG6 speaker wiring and other AV audio cables in walls and ceilings. However, there are exceptions to this rule. A license is required if the activities involve handling high voltage, defined as anything over 50 volts. A license is also required if the activities involve installing or repairing alarm systems, fire alarm systems, or security systems. It is important to ensure that all high voltage and alarm system work is subcontracted to licensed contractors. The DBPR has confirmed that the installation of low voltage cabling, including Cat 5E/6 RG6 speaker wiring and other AV audio cables, does not require a license in Florida. Therefore, based on the information provided by the DBPR, a license is not needed to run Cat 5E/6 RG6 speaker wiring and other AV audio cables in walls and ceilings in Florida, provided that all high voltage and alarm system work is subcontracted to licensed contractors. It is important to differentiate between low voltage and high voltage systems. Low voltage systems typically operate at 50 volts or less and are used for communication, entertainment, and control purposes. Examples of low voltage systems include telephone systems, computer networks, audio-visual systems, and security systems. High voltage systems, on the other hand, operate at voltages greater than 50 volts and are used for power distribution and lighting. Examples of high voltage systems include electrical panels, lighting circuits, and appliance circuits. Because the installation and repair of high voltage systems involve a greater risk of electrical shock and fire, these activities require specific licensing to ensure that the work is performed safely and in accordance with applicable codes and standards. When subcontracting high voltage and alarm system work, it is essential to verify that the contractor holds the appropriate license for the type of work being performed. The Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation website provides a tool to search for licensed contractors and verify their license status. It is also important to obtain proof of insurance from the contractor to ensure that you are protected in the event of an accident or injury. In addition to licensing requirements, it is important to comply with all applicable building codes and electrical codes when installing low voltage cabling. These codes specify the requirements for cable installation, including the type of cable to use, the methods of installation, and the requirements for fire stopping and protection. Failure to comply with these codes can result in fines, penalties, and the requirement to remove and reinstall the cabling. Some common building code requirements for low voltage cable installation include the following. Firstly, cables must be supported and secured to prevent them from sagging or becoming damaged. Secondly, cables must be protected from physical damage by installing them in conduit or raceway. Thirdly, cables must be separated from high voltage wiring to prevent interference and electrical shock. Fourthly, cables must be fire stopped to prevent the spread of fire through walls and ceilings. To ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards, it is recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector before beginning any low-voltage cable installation project. In summary, while a license is not required to install low-voltage cabling in Florida, it is important to understand the exceptions to this rule and to comply with all applicable building codes and electrical codes. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your low-voltage cable installation project is performed safely and in accordance with all applicable regulations. Furthermore, even though a license might not be strictly required for certain low-voltage installations, having relevant certifications can be beneficial. Certifications demonstrate a certain level of knowledge and expertise, which can increase credibility with clients and employers. Several organizations offer certifications related to low-voltage cabling and systems, such as BICSI, the Building Industry Consulting Service International. BICSI offers various certifications, including Registered Communications Distribution Designer, or RCDD, and Installer certifications. These certifications cover a wide range of topics related to telecommunications and low-voltage cabling, including design, installation, and maintenance. Obtaining these certifications requires completing coursework and passing an exam. Another relevant certification is the Electronic Systems Professional Alliance, or ESPA, certification. The ESPA offers certifications for various electronic systems professionals, including those who install and service audio, video, and security systems. These certifications demonstrate competency in specific areas of electronic systems installation and service. In addition to these industry-specific certifications, there are also general certifications related to electrical safety and first aid. These certifications can be valuable for anyone working with electrical systems, regardless of voltage level. Examples of these certifications include OSHA safety training and CPR/first aid certification. When considering whether to obtain certifications, it is important to weigh the costs and benefits. Certifications can require time and money to obtain, but they can also lead to increased job opportunities and higher pay. Ultimately, the decision of whether to pursue certifications depends on individual career goals and circumstances. To reiterate the key points, in Florida, a license is generally not required for installing low-voltage cabling such as Cat5e/6, RG6, and speaker wire. However, a license is required for handling high voltage, typically defined as over 50 volts, and for installing or repairing alarm, fire alarm, and security systems. It is crucial to subcontract these tasks to licensed professionals. While a license might not be mandatory for all low-voltage work, adhering to building codes and industry best practices is essential for safety and quality. Furthermore, obtaining relevant certifications can enhance professional credibility and open up career opportunities. Always consult the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation for the most up-to-date information on licensing requirements. Remember that regulations can change, and it is your responsibility to ensure compliance. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. Consult with a qualified professional for specific guidance on licensing requirements and regulations. Consider these further details about specific types of low-voltage cabling. Cat5e and Cat6 cables are commonly used for data networking and telecommunications. Cat5e cables are an enhanced version of Cat5 cables and offer improved performance in terms of bandwidth and data transfer speeds. Cat6 cables offer even better performance than Cat5e cables and are typically used for gigabit Ethernet and other high-speed networking applications. RG6 cables are primarily used for carrying television signals and are commonly used for cable television and satellite television installations. Speaker wire is used to connect audio amplifiers to speakers and is typically made of copper or aluminum. The gauge of the speaker wire affects the quality of the audio signal, with thicker wires generally providing better performance. When installing low-voltage cabling, it is important to use the correct tools and techniques. Some essential tools for low-voltage cable installation include wire strippers, crimpers, cable testers, and tone generators. Wire strippers are used to remove the insulation from the wires without damaging the conductors. Crimpers are used to attach connectors to the ends of the cables. Cable testers are used to verify that the cables are properly connected and that they meet the required performance standards. Tone generators are used to trace cables and identify their location. Proper installation techniques are also essential for ensuring the performance and reliability of low-voltage cabling systems. Some important installation techniques include avoiding sharp bends in the cables, maintaining proper cable management, and terminating the cables correctly. Sharp bends in the cables can damage the conductors and reduce the signal quality. Proper cable management helps to prevent tangles and ensures that the cables are easy to access and maintain. Correctly terminating the cables ensures that they are properly connected to the equipment and that they meet the required performance standards. In addition to the technical aspects of low-voltage cable installation, it is also important to consider safety precautions. Some essential safety precautions include wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses, and following all electrical safety guidelines. Gloves protect your hands from cuts and electrical shock, while safety glasses protect your eyes from flying debris. Electrical safety guidelines help to prevent electrical shock and other hazards. When working with electrical systems, it is important to energize the circuits before beginning any work. This can be done by turning off the circuit breakers or removing the fuses that supply power to the circuits. It is also important to use insulated tools and to avoid working in wet or damp conditions. Furthermore, it is important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with working in confined spaces. Confined spaces can contain hazardous gases or lack sufficient oxygen, which can be dangerous or even fatal. If you must work in a confined space, it is important to follow all safety procedures and to have a trained observer present. In conclusion, while a license is not always required for low-voltage cable installation in Florida, it is important to understand the regulations and to follow all safety precautions. By doing so, you can ensure that your low-voltage cable installation project is performed safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. It is also worth noting that some local jurisdictions may have additional requirements for low-voltage cable installation. It is important to check with your local building department to determine if there are any local requirements that apply to your project. These local requirements may include obtaining a permit before beginning any work, or having the work inspected by a building inspector. In addition to local requirements, there may also be industry standards that apply to your project. These standards may be developed by organizations such as the Telecommunications Industry Association, or TIA, or the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These standards provide guidelines for the design, installation, and testing of low-voltage cabling systems. Following these standards can help to ensure that your project meets the required performance standards and that it is compatible with other systems. When planning your low-voltage cable installation project, it is important to consider the future needs of the system. Will the system need to be expanded in the future? Will the system need to support new technologies? By considering these factors, you can design a system that is flexible and scalable, and that will meet your needs for years to come. It is also important to document your low-voltage cable installation project. This documentation should include drawings of the cable pathways, a list of the cables used, and the results of any testing that was performed. This documentation can be valuable for troubleshooting problems and for making future changes to the system. Finally, it is important to maintain your low-voltage cabling system. This includes regularly inspecting the cables and connections for damage and cleaning the cables and equipment to prevent dust and dirt buildup. Regular maintenance can help to ensure that your system continues to perform at its best and that it has a long and reliable lifespan. Remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional for specific guidance on licensing requirements and regulations. Always prioritize safety and follow all applicable codes and standards. If you are unsure about any aspect of low-voltage cable installation, it is best to seek the advice of a qualified professional. Low-voltage systems are increasingly important in modern buildings, providing essential services such as communication, entertainment, and control. By understanding the licensing requirements and following best practices for installation and maintenance, you can ensure that your low-voltage systems are safe, reliable, and effective. Keep in mind that the technology related to low-voltage systems is constantly evolving. Staying informed about the latest advancements can help you to make informed decisions about your low-voltage cabling project. Consider subscribing to industry publications and attending trade shows to stay up to date on the latest trends and technologies. This will enable you to provide your clients with the most advanced and reliable low-voltage solutions.